Okay, dear venerable brother, Dhamma friends. So we are going to start the second Dhamma discussion. So as usual, Sharini is ready with the written reports. So we'll start the session with written reports.
There are 8 reports in total.
Okay.
Report number 1, Venerable Thero, Kamatahan question. How can a layperson with a conditioned mindset progress with her Vipassana meditation without forming unnecessary false or biased perspectives with regard to observations? Sampajano.
Observations?
Yes. False observations.
False observations. I don't know what you really mean by the false observation. So there are rites, rituals, observations. That's a kind of a series of words we typically use for Silabbata Paramasa. So certain rituals are there, certain observances are there. I don't know whether you meant that. May I know who has written the report? Question? Nobody? So basically there are certain principles we may have to maintain, certain policies, certain say rites, rituals. Now there's an interesting sutta called Silabbata Sutta, where Venerable Ananda being questioned by the Buddha, where Buddha is asking also how about the rites and rituals, observances. Is everything useful, everything to be abandoned? What do you think? And Venerable Ananda says there is no definite answer. It is not definitive. And then Buddha asks him to explain. And he says, Venerable Ananda says, if there is any observance, any kind of a ritual, as a result of following of that, so if we feel certain amount of relaxation, calmness, reduction of any defilements, and the improvement of the wholesome qualities, then Venerable Ananda says it is something better to continue. On the other hand, if there is a ritual, if there is a kind of an observance, and as a result of its practice, and you feel really sort of exhausted, and you feel really tired, and the wholesome qualities are decreasing, unwholesome qualities are increasing, and you better abandon it. So the criteria is depending on the benefit. So what kind of benefit that we are gaining through a certain observance. So if that benefit is wholesome and the wholesome side is improving and the unwholesome side is decreasing, it's a good kind of a ritual, good sort of observance, and we better continue that. On the other hand, we have to abandon it. There may be certain rites and rituals that at another level of our practice that you might feel, okay, it is not necessary now and it is kind of a burden now. And is no more helping me to develop certain amount of the spiritual qualities, wholesome qualities, and then that itself is possible to abandon. The thing is, it's a kind of evolving thing. Certain rites and rituals may be useful at the beginning, and so we may have to use it. On the other hand, there may be the same thing at another time. It can become a kind of a burden, and again might not productive in the spiritual side, then you can abandon that. So likewise, the rites and rituals are there. Certain ones we may have to continue till we live. It's a lifetime something. That also may be possible. So the deciding factor is based on the wholesomeness and the unwholesomeness. I don't know whether your question is related to that. Okay.
I think so, Bhante, because second part to it seems like that. Unlike in other religions with the God concept, where followers can also seek short-term relief, Buddhism being a philosophy while focusing on the long-term spiritual goal of Nibbana, what type of short-term relief are available for a layperson?
Yeah, many things are there. Now, for a layperson, there are, say, as you practice Buddhist ethics and certain Buddhist principles, that internally you feel calm, relaxed, that is something. And then as a result of that, you are maintaining good sort of relationship with the other members of the family and the members of the society. So that kind of a coherence going to happen. Peaceful living is possible. And there are many suttas, say Vyaggapajja Sutta, those are particularly aiming at explaining the benefits to a lay person. So what are the benefits of living this sort of a life according to the Buddhist principles? So I can't exactly remember the certain terms like Samajivikata, what's that? Satara Sangraha Vastu? Dana Veyyavaccha. Sorry? Samajivikata. Dana Priyavachanaya Samanatmatava Samajivikata. So these are very common characteristics typically mentioned that you are being a generous person. So very much like open-handed. So whenever someone is in need, really in need, and you are ready to share what you have, being generous. And then whenever you are talking, you are not using the bad words, the hurting words. You are not lying and using the gossip and divisive speech. Rather, you are talking something useful, beneficial, and again it is also said in an amicable way. So the Piya Vachana. And then Samanatmata. So you treat everyone equally and there are no sort of, discrepancies. Everybody are human beings and you are maintaining that sort of humanity in your mind. There is no any particular sort of racism or something like that. So you are maintaining that equanimous attitude towards everyone. And Dana, Priyavachana, Samanatmata. What's the other one? Samajivikata. So that is where you are maintaining the balanced way of living, how to balance your income as from from what you earn. Because sometimes your income, if it is not tallying with the outcome, income is not tallying with the expenditure, then you will be in trouble. So you have to maintain that certain economic balance in your own way of, because in the lay life you are dealing with the money and the other activities and you are earning something, so that earnings have to be balanced with your expenditures. So like that, those things are also explained. And not only that, please. Definitely. Yep. Yeah. Definitely yes. Because it is not that lay people are abandoned from the practice. So one aspect is the development of the panya. That panya is also not that you read a book and listen to Dhamma. That's not the only level that Buddha is talking there. That panya is so profound and he is taking it to the level of Udayattagamini panyaya samannagato ariyaya nibbedikaya. So you have a thorough understanding, experiential knowledge about the rising and passing away of phenomena, and it is leading towards the complete abandonment of the suffering. So such a level. And you remember who is the person that for lay people, for lay women, who is the person, lay woman that to take as a role model? Nandamata, and then who else? Kujjuttara. Yeah, Kujjuttara and Nandamata. Velukantaki Nandamata. So those are the two lay women that Buddha is taking lay women to take as an example. Both are non-returners. And then for lay men, Chitta Gahapati and Hattaka Alavaka. Both of them are also non-returners. So the Buddha has taken to a very high level actually. It is not that lay people are supposed to simply give dana and do rituals and satisfy to that level. Rather, Buddha has taken them to a fairly higher standard, aspiring them to do the good as well as spend a fairly spiritual life also, and also having thorough understanding about the Dhamma, experiential knowledge about arising and passing away. So it is not something trivial, it is something significant. Yeah.
Swami Maharaj, can I ask a question based on that?
Mm-hmm.
So, say now sometimes we go to this Kataragama Devalaya, no. So, but if we know that this is not the way forward, like as in this is not the way to Nibbana, but we sometimes have to go, so then it's okay, right? It's not Silabhada Paramasa, right? Because we inside, we know.
It's a long journey, from here to Kataragama. So, I mean, people are at different levels. I don't want to criticize anything. So, people are enjoying this and that, and I mean, different things are there. So, as you are continuing the path, anyway, you start dropping some unnecessary parts, and you are streamlining what is the best to do. And at first, you are not sure about what to do, and you are not having a proper path, proper aim, and you yourself have certain perplexities, doubts, and you are not yet confident about the path. So that's why people are not solely paying attention to the Buddha, and while worshipping Buddha, you have another series of gods as well, because they are not yet 100% faithful. In a way, mentally weak, on the other hand. So they are expecting certain amount of help from the outside sources, and not yet internally strong enough to bear things and face the life and stick to the Buddhist ethics and all that. And Buddha basically, I mean, according to the Buddha's advice, so we are simply sharing merits with the gods, that's all right, and that Buddha recommended and he invited to do that. But not asking for help anyway. So going after in a blind way any religious leader or any such deity is not something representing a fairly strong maturity in oneself. So therefore, I mean, we don't need to condemn any of these, I mean, because people are sometimes helpless and they need something to latch with, something to depend on. So sometimes they need some kind of a psychological help, and they are going for this and that. Things are there, but as they are growing, they may understand. Okay, this is something to do. Many things are there now. Say, Buddha is in a way helping us to develop that maturity in us. Now, say for example, five things that he is asking us to reflect often. Say, I am not beyond death. Okay, I am not someone who has surpassed death, and I am subject to death. And I am not someone who is completely free from illnesses. I am subject to illnesses. Aging, I am not someone who is free from aging. I am subject to aging. And I am the owner of the karma. And what I do, either good or bad, I am the heir to that karma. So likewise, Buddha is in a way helping us to develop such kind of a mature mentality in ourselves. So we are accepting this is the life. I mean, this is our human form. So we are, as we discussed even yesterday, so if we are get born, so one unavoidable circumstances are there. So we may get old, we can't stop that. And we get sick, that we can't stop. And one day we will die, that also we can't stop. So these are some intrinsic characteristics of the birth. So these are, I mean, we need certain amount of a maturity and sort of a courage for us to understand that, isn't it? So people don't want to accept it, and they appreciate the birth, and they completely reject and afraid of the death, illness and the aging, and they are trying to stop that. But this is part of the life. So Buddha is taking us to that very a mature understanding, and then they start accepting it, and they bear it. They maintain that acceptance, radical acceptance. And then they are being a good person also because they are responsible for what they are doing. So if they do something good, then they can get good consequences, and if they do something bad, the bad results are also available. So you are responsible of what they are doing. And that is also not the end, and they are further trying to develop the spiritual qualities, what we call as the, say, Bodhipakkhya Dhammas, the conducive conditions which are more helpful for the development of our freedom, the mental freedom, and that's something that person has to do. That is also one's own endeavor. Basically, no one would here for me to do that for me. I mean, I have to do that. So Buddha is not a savior. So Buddha, I mean, no point of asking from the Buddha, Bhante, can you give me a, say, a new car? Can you give me promotion? Can you release me from this and that? I mean, it's kind of a low mentality, weaker mentality. But as we are doing something good, it may have a good result, definitely. So that is, now say when we are doing good thing, you one, no, like that, what's that, Sapabala Paknya, no, right? I mean, this Ayu, so the long life, longevity. One, the good complexion. And Sapa, the Sukha, the what we call the happiness part. Bala, the strength part. Panya, the wisdom part. I mean, as a result of doing something good, certain outcome is there, result is also there to get the same thing. So likewise, it's a kind of a karma-based understanding. And on the other hand, as certain suttas are explaining, different levels of karma are also explained. Now say for example, you can refer Velama Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya, where Buddha is putting various different meritorious deeds in a ascending order. Now say you are giving something to an animal, that's also something beneficial and it is a meritorious deed. And then Buddha say, okay, you are giving something to a human being. Which one is better? Giving something to a human being, even though he is not yet a moral person. And then you are giving something to a morally good, morally sound human being. It is much better then. And then Buddha say, okay, you are giving something to the stream winner, a Sotapanna, even much, much better. More benefits. And then you are giving something to a Sakadagami, then to an Anagami, then to an Arahant, to a Pacceka Buddha, to a Samma Sambuddha, and then the Buddha and the Sangha. And then, is that all? No, then he is taking, okay, you are preparing a dwelling place to a monk just to continue the monk's life. And then he is taking to another level, telling, okay, you go for refuge, the 3 refuges. Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami. So you can see, where he has kept this taking refuge. It is much, much higher level than even giving a dana to the Buddha and the Sangha. And he is taking, okay, you are very honestly, you are going for refuge under the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. And not only that, then you are taking the precepts. You are honestly trying to maintain the moral life by going through precepts. And then Buddha taking to the samatha meditation, okay, even a snap of a finger you are developing the loving kindness. And next you are taking to the maximum, that is the Vipassana. Snap of a finger you are reflecting the impermanence. So you can see the understanding is kept at a very higher level, even at the meritorious level. So sometimes people criticize, okay, what you guys are doing, there is no real active involvement in making merit by just sitting here and, watching the breath and watching the rising and falling. So people criticize. But internally, spiritually, there's a big value there. So you can't measure that. So certain meritorious activities are there, those are really helpful, but it doesn't take you away from the samsara, but it can give some good results. That's why in the Sammaditthi, Buddha takes it to a two level. There are mundane kind of a Sammaditthi, and then the supramundane side of the Sammaditthi. So the mundane side of Sammaditthi is good, not a bad thing. And it is giving good results, but still with asava. Sasava punya bahagya upadivepakka. It is producing good results, but still with certain amount of ignorance, certain amount of influxes. But on the other hand, the supramundane side of Sammaditthi is anasava. Arya, anasava, lokuttara, amagganga. It is noble, it's making someone noble and free from the defilements, free from the influxes. And it is supramundane, magganga. It becomes a path factor. So those are in a way, the Buddha's teaching. I mean, we don't need to simply reduce it to this simple ethical conduct and doing something good and helping and all that, but something much, much deeper in the Buddha's teaching. So that is something that we need to really discuss and try to understand, try to practice. So Buddha's message is that, I mean, there are many other religious leaders also who has talked about the karma and ethical way of living. So those are not really unique to the Buddhist teaching. And there are other religions also tell that. But Buddha's teaching emphasize on the other very high level teachings. So those are really interesting to understand.
Question number 2. Dear Bhante, when I sit for meditation after walking meditation, the body feels light immediately. I am able to observe both breathing and rising and falling, happening in tandem or together at the beginning of the hour. Then both tend to fade. Mind goes to thoughts, leg pain or tingling feeling on skin. Sometimes there are unaccounted periods of time. Sometimes when I change the postures, I come back to the body. It is to more prominent object at the time. Out of breathing and rising or falling, I follow that as the primary object. Then it keeps changing. During yesterday's Q&A, Bhante advised to another yogi that it is better to focus on either breath or rising or falling. If both are observed in a similar way, can you please guide on how to select the primary object?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, that some people are facing. So, what is prominent can be taken as the primary object. That is the easy approach. Say, assume that you can still feel the rising and falling. Still you can feel the, say, breathing. And you can sort of select what is most prominent, what is easier for me. You can take that as the prominent object and then continue the path. And assume that you can't feel breathing. And rising and falling is still felt and it is prominent. And then you can anyway go to rising and falling. And for this yogi anyway, so that you are seems doing rising and falling or whatever, but now bodily sensations are available, so that means your path is more into the element side, so better go there. I mean, what you have done is correct. So basically tingling sensations are there and you keep observing those tingling sensations, and those are also evolving, and that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. So, because the thing is sometimes, as we yesterday also mentioned, so a group of yogis are there who are going along with the Anapanasati track, kind of one type of meditation technique. Another group of meditators are there, practitioners are there, who are going along with this elements meditation track. So, for them, many sensations are available in the body, and they feel it, and they can manifest in many different ways. Either way, you can start observing them. Now you don't need to go to the breathing. I mean, you can go to breathing in case your concentration reduces and you again get distracted. and say there are tingling sensations or any other sensations are there in the body, and you are trying to focus to them and you start observing them, anyway your concentration weaken. As a result of that, again mind get distracted often. Then you better switch back to Anapanasati to further refine, regain your concentration, regain your mindfulness. And once you regain it, again you can go back to this observation, observing various sensations. In case your observation doesn't weaken the concentration, rather it is maintained or even it is sharpened, then better go through that. No need to return to breathing. Because here the investigation is the most important thing. Investigation helps us to understand understand the way things as they truly are. So that is the most prominent thing, but that's the most important thing. Actually, we are developing mindfulness and concentration to do this investigation. Investigation is the most important thing in the Vipassana, Dhammavicaya part. And it will take some time for you to come to the balance of the mind. Now say, if you refer Anapanasati Sutta, there's a sequential order that Buddha mentioned how it is happening. Now you start with mindfulness, sati, the mindfulness enlightenment factor, and once it is fairly developed and you feel okay, now it is consistent, and then you are trying to investigate that whatever the primary object, assume that you are taking rising and falling, and you feel okay, now I can maintain mindfulness continuously for a fair amount of time. Now you can go to the next level, that is Dhammavicaya. Tata sato viharanto tan dhammang panyaya pavichinati pavicharati parivimansang apachati. So while you are dwelling in mindfulness, continuous mindfulness, and now you are supposed to investigate with wisdom. It is not that you are thinking. Mind is fairly calm now, less thinking. Now you do a kind of a penetrative type of investigation to various phenomena. And as you are doing that, you need fair amount of effort. Sati, Dhammavicaya, Virya. So Virya is necessary because the mind sometimes doesn't want to do that. Our mind simply like to ignore it and simply, in a surface level without taking this step. Because at first it's appear like difficult. Because you are, rather than simply spending time in a lazy way, now you have to penetratively look at what's really going on. So you need that kind of a curiosity, investigative quality inbuilt to the mind. So you are building that quality in the mind, that penetrative quality in the mind. At first it appears like difficult, because what you have to investigate is also not an interesting phenomena. Now it may be hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness, heaviness, lightness, vibration, breathing itself or rising and falling, different sensations. So these are not phenomena that you typically the mind really appreciate to look at. So there you need a certain amount of effort to maintain, again and again bring your attention to that particular phenomena and to do the investigation. So the effort is required. And as you are continuing, then slowly you get the technique. You understand it. And the technique itself, this investigation itself producing certain amount of happiness. That is where the Piti Sambojjhanga come into the picture. Sati, Dhammavicaya, Virya, Piti. So now the practice is bringing certain happiness. This is not samatha practice. Typically samatha practice anyway produce certain happiness as you are developing in samatha. You have heard, right? In, say, for example, in first jhana, piti is one jhanic factor, rupture. Vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggatano. So piti and sukha both are more into the happiness side, positive side. But what we are talking now is not samatha. Now this is vipassana. Even through vipassana, this investigation, at one level, once you recognize the balance and once the mind is used to do this investigation, and you know the proper amount of effort to maintain, that process also produces certain amount of happiness. That is the piti available in the vipassana practice. And as you are further growing, now you go through piti and now come into passaddhi. That means your body feel relaxed and calm and maybe lighter. And passaddhi, samadhi, the samadhi is now kind of an equilibrium and you don't need to do much. And ultimately to upekkha, everything in a good balance. The mind itself has taken the job and you don't have nothing to do. You have nothing to do basically, mind does it. And you simply become equanimous. The process happens by itself. New phenomena are arising continuously. Mind approach it, investigate it. Another phenomena comes out. Mind approach it, investigate it. Another phenomena comes out. Mind approaches, investigate it. It becomes very much like kind of an automatic process. You don't need to do anything. You simply step back and watch it's going on, the continuous process. So likewise, you step into the equanimity as a result of this Vipassana process. So therefore, so it takes certain amount of time, but this is the path that we need to continue, particularly to develop the insight.
Question number 3.
Yeah, we can say so, yes. Because sati and sampajanya together working, mindfulness and the sampajanya is the clear comprehension, where you are clearly comprehending what is going on. So, sati, dhamma vichaya, very much sati sampajanya. Yeah.
Question number 3. Respective Bhante, whenever I get time, I always practice walking meditation and Anapana Sati Bhavana. I understand that it is good to practice Satara Kamatahan Bhavana, even for a short period. But I never think of doing it. Kindly explain how can I include Satara Kamatahan Bhavana into the practice.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. It depends on where you are in a way. So at first it's better to do that. Yes, I agree. So you can do a little bit of Buddhanusati, you can do a little bit of Metta, basically to make you happy. Other two depends on your mentality. Now say for example, because the thing is, to practice Vipassana, better to be positive. Be a happy person. So, this Metta and Buddhanusati makes you happy. Kind of uplifted and really happy mentality. Then you can continue Vipassana. On the other hand, when you are going to practice, if your mind is burning with lust, then better go for Asubha and Marananusati, because you need to come to the middle. You need to come to the middle, because now the mind is excited and a little bit of burning with lust. With that, you can't continue as a beginner. So you need to reduce it, take it to the middle, to free from lust. Then you can practice again to further improve certain amount of not the sensual happiness, but unworldly kind of happiness, niramisa piti. You can again get into Metta and Buddhanusati little bit, and then you can go for the main meditation object, maybe Anapanasati, maybe rising and falling, elements meditation, whatever. So, I mean, doing all four might take long time, too long. So therefore, depending on the situation, you can select what to practice. Now, say, if you are really burning with anger, then definitely you better take Metta and Buddhanusati to reduce anger and take you to the middle and to go to the opposite direction, that is to have the happy side. Because anger and happiness can't exist together. So as you are putting loving kindness and Buddhanusati, slowly anger will disappear and you come into the happy mood. So otherwise, assume that you are in a good mood, you are already in a happy mood. Now actually, it's not a must for you to practice all four whatever this guardian meditations. You can quickly go to the main meditation object, because you are already confident now, already the mind is in a happy mood. So therefore it depends on you. Don't spend too long in the four guardian meditations, but at first they are really useful, because at first you don't know how to tackle lust, how to tackle anger through Vipassana, through Satipatthana, and it will take certain amount of time. So therefore, maintaining certain amount of loving kindness, maintaining certain amount of asubha, in a way, a very good technique, very good kind of advisable approach, because these are kind of tools that you are having, certain weapons that you are having against the certain kind of very destructive defilements. But as you are practicing Satipatthana, as you are gaining the mindfulness, as you are gaining a fair amount of wisdom, then slowly you can reduce the amount of these 4 practices and give more prominence to the Satipatthana practice. And later, even lustful thought can become a raw material for your own practice. Even the anger, ill will also can become a raw material for your Vipassana practice. So that is where we are coming to the Chittanupassana. At that level, they are giving insight. Not that you are practicing the opposite qualities, rather you accept them as it is and you see their real nature, and they are giving us insight. So the things are changing in a different way now. You are not afraid of anger, you are not afraid of lust, but they are another phenomena happening in the mind. You are capable of step back and watch it as it is, to understand their true nature. So therefore, the practice actually evolves. That's what I mentioned. So, when to practice 4 guardian meditation depends on where we are. So, and again, if you are anyway capable of practicing Satipatthana now, but not immediately, you need fair amount of time to take to that level, even a particular session. Now, anyway, you have that capacity, but it will take certain amount of time. Say, if you are practicing 1 hour, for you to come to a fair amount of confident level, it will take half an hour. It can be, no? Then probably you can do a little bit of metta or whatever, Buddha Anusati or Asubha and whatever thing as a very preliminary practice, and then you can spend Satipatthana, and then you can come to the middle, and then you can allow these thoughts come back. But don't again go back to metta and Buddha Anusati. Because now you are confident, you have come to another level and you should handle it now. You confront it now. I hope you got the point.
Question number 4. Venerable Swamin Wahansa, I have been doing Anapanasati meditation for a number of years. After meditating for about half an hour, gradually the breath cannot be felt. But I am fully conscious. I can continue this way for over an hour. There is no change beyond this. Please advise.
Yeah, may I know who has written it? Nobody? You are? No. No. Nobody? Few gods are also here. No, thing is, better we discuss this point where you are practicing Anapanasati, and as you are practicing Anapanasati, as you said, definitely it will evolve and it can become more subtler and subtler, and ultimately it can disappear. But at that level, you shouldn't get panic, you shouldn't shift to anything else, and you should maintain that for a while to see what's really going on. So one thing is you can fall asleep. I hope you are not. And another thing is various signs can appear in your mind. So different, whatever these visualizations can happen, and you shouldn't follow them. That's another thing. And you shouldn't purposely think. That's another drawback. So you are not supposed to purposely think. But next stage, basically, if you are going through Anapanasati, that direction, so achieving complete calmness of the breathing is the 4th stage, right? In Kayanupassana section. There are 16 steps, no? So the 4th step is Passambhayam Kaya Sankhara. Now all breathing has completely calmed down, complete relaxation is there. So once everything relaxed, then certain kind of a very soft, very subtle happiness can arise. Tingling sensations can happen. You might feel like floating, and fairly very comfortable environment is now growing within the body and the mind. Now this is part of the happiness, Sukha Vedana. Now you need to look at it as a Sukha Vedana. Now you need to step back. It is not me experiencing happiness, rather there is happiness. There is no person experiencing it, the mere happiness is there. Mere joy is there. Mere pleasure is there. Mere blissful state is there. That just it. Not that it belongs to you. It is not that you going through it, that mere happiness is there. Piti patisangvedi, sukha patisangvedi. And then, third stage of Vedananupassana, what's that? Chitta sankhara patisangvedi. Yeah, Chitta Sankhara Patisangvedi. So, Chitta Sankhara is Vedana and Sanya. So, the various feelings are again anyway already happening. Certain kind of perceptions can happen. Very subtle images can appear in the mind, and because now mind is getting fairly empty, to fill that emptiness, still certain latent images can pop up, and we shouldn't get deluded to them. So, they also come and go. And you are further clarifying things, cleansing things. And then Passambayan Chitta Sankhara. Now that also completely disappear. Now all the feelings are also very much like disappeared. Certain perceptions are also then disappeared. Now you are a step into the Chittanupassana. Chitta Patisangvedi Asasissamiti Sikkati. Now you don't worry about the body, not worrying about the feelings. Now you simply wash the mind in a more relaxed manner. One disadvantage here is that if you are coming through fairly intense kind of a concentration, fairly deep, very intense kind of a concentration, you can't find much raw material for your practice. Because very high, deep concentration is there, feelings also have disappeared, and you are almost like absorbed, and nothing is there for you to watch. So that's why you need to take it to a very shallow level again to see little bit any kind of a movement in the mind. So you need to make it little shallow. You give some fair freedom to the mind to think if it wants. Because Chittanupassana, now if you refer Satipatthana Sutta, Chittanupassana, how Buddha starts? Saragan Chittanti Pajanati. So how the Saraga Chitta can happen? Then Vitaragan Chittanti Pajanati. Sadosan Chittanti Pajanati. Vitadosan Chittanti Pajanati. Now, aren't they defilements? They are, right, in a way, right? Saraga Chitta, that means lustful thought, anger thought of ill will. Now they appear like the negative thoughts. But now the mind has the capacity to look at it. You are no more identifying with it. You allow it to happen, but you are fairly free from it. And you are not that. It is not me having lustful thought. It's not me angry. Rather, anger as a thought, lust as a thought. So thought is a mere thought. Your awareness is at another level. But this awareness is a very relaxed awareness. So when you are going through very deep concentrating level, so this relaxed awareness is not there. So because you are holding tightly, and then thoughts are not able to come out, because you are very much like suppressing because of the higher concentration. So in Anapanasati, as you are stepping into Chittanupassana, you need to step back and change the little posture and relax and assume that you are like this. Very strict, very strong, very rigid, very high tense. Now everything has disappeared, everything okay. Now you are coming to the Chittanupassana. Okay, you change the posture a little bit. Relax yourself. You reduce the concentration. You take it to the surface level and you reduce the effort. So in a way you are reducing the protection to the mind in a way. But wisdom is there. Don't worry about it. So allow the mind to think now. Don't worry. Allow the mind to think, but see what it is thinking now. Thoughts are coming, okay. Thought came, okay. You see it gone. Another thought came, you see it gone. So you have some raw material for the practice. Theoretically it will go. That's the thing. Now that is where in a way that is a kind of a risk that we are taking, because you know that at first we are not that confident, so that's why we are taking all these concentration and all that sila and everything is in a really sharp level, and because still not we are confident. But as we are taking to the Chittanupassana level, so the mindfulness is there. Don't worry about it. Mindfulness is there, and you have the capacity to clearly comprehend things. Very clearly, sharply, you have the capacity to comprehend things, know things. And let the mind play now. So don't worry. Give a freedom, let the mind play. So when it is starting playing, so a thought is coming. Allowing the thoughts come now, thought may come. And slowly you are improving. Slowly you step back. So you learn the art. You learn the art of Chittanupassana. And you find the balance. Okay, it is not that I am suppressing the thoughts. I allow them to come out. And again, I am not getting sort of feeding the thoughts either. So if you start feeding the thinking, then they grow. That's the problem. That means still lack of mindfulness, lack of clear comprehension, lack of wisdom. So still I get deluded by the thoughts. So I am not yet ready to handle it in a way. So I'm still feeding it. I am trying to watch it, but they keep growing. Lustful thought came, but I am watching it, but keep growing it now. Can happen, definitely it can happen, because we are not immediately, experts, no. So we go wrong sometimes. Can't help. Someday you have to take this risk. No permanent damage, don't worry. Just one session, no, don't worry. I mean, it's okay. Lustful thought came and you keep feeding and you feel really angry, lustful, and okay, take Asubha and handle it. Okay, I was defeated. Don't worry. Next time, again you're going, again another lustful thought, and now assume that you are able to shift yourself, maintain certain distance, and now that lustful thought start melting. You're not feeding it. So then that means you are now capable. Lustful thought came and you handle it properly. You are not feeding it. You maintain the distance, decentered, and then it slowly fade away. It melted. It go away. So likewise, we have to take a risk to handle it. And as you are growing it, as you are doing it, you get the confidence. Then you don't even go through the first stages. Kayanupassana, Vedanupassana, you can even skip them and switch directly to the Chittanupassana if you are really a warrior. So likewise, we have to take a risk at one level. So don't worry about, don't be afraid of these thoughts. So they are merely thoughts, because as you are growing to the Chittanupassana level, you have certain amount of your hands-on experience. You are not a beginner. Because you have spent fair amount of time in Kayanupassana, you earn fair amount of mindfulness, this clear knowing part, you know how to handle or rather properly focus to a, feeling, properly focus to breath, properly focus to rising and falling, this focusing capacity. It's something that those are mental skills, no? So how to focus to a very subtle phenomena. So that's what, these are the skills that we are growing. The same capacity now you are using to the mind itself. Thoughts are coming and you are very sharply keeping your attention, keeping an eye to that thought. And you can handle it.
No need to contemplate that this is akusala.
No. Just you recognize, just label. Just label, this is a lustful thought. This is an anger thought. This is a thought of ill will. This is another lustful thought. This is another confusion thought. Jealousy thought. Loving kindness thought. Just labeling, that's all. Just recognizing, that's enough. So because, keep it simple also, don't complicate it. In case you feel threatened and you still can't handle, go back to the body. God bless you. Wish you all the best.
Not my questions. Swamin Wahanse, question number 5 to the young adults. Venerable Bhante, any advice to young adults concerning the increasing tendency to defy elders? Not to listen to elders, basically, and the growing desires, etc. How to use meditation to regulate such things?
So that is the age, no? I mean, you need to accept that. The elders have to accept that. That's the first thing. So you also have gone through it, no? So during your young age, your young adult age, how you behaved. Same way that your child is also going through now. So have a more realistic understanding. So I also have went through this kind of a age. At that time I was a rebellion. I was rebelling against my father, my mother, and they are trying to keep me at home, and I just run away. So like that you remember, I mean, how you behaved as a teenager, right? Huh? This question is from a young person. Okay. Okay. That's a good question, by the way, then. May I know who has written it? Any young person here? I don't. You are really? Okay. How old are you? 20. Okay. You looks more mature now. Anyway, understanding these rebellious thoughts, I mean, you want to sometimes disagree with the, I mean, kind of a disagreements, disagreeable thoughts are arising. You understanding that is really important thing. Because what typically happens is that we being a victim of that way of thinking, and we can't understand these thoughts are coming, and we are simply a part of it. We identify with it. We are completely in it, and I am attacking my daddy, I am attacking my mother, whatever. So that is where we completely consumed by this way of thinking. But if you know, okay, now there's a sort of a tendency in the mind, it is looking at from a different angle, it is trying to attack, there's a tendency in the mind to provocate the mind. So likewise, if you understand it, it's a really good thing. And the development of mindfulness actually help you to further strengthen that capacity, to understand these thoughts at its very early stage. So because typically when thoughts are happening, when they are growing, they are quickly growing to a very high level, and when we are unmindful, we quickly become a victim of it, and then we react to it, and later we regret about it. So that is what typically happens, because we are unmindful. But as we are growing in mindfulness, so we develop a certain capacity. As this situation is happening internally in the mind, so at one level we start feeling it. We quickly start tracing it. The mindfulness will indicate it. Okay, something is going wrong now. This bad behavior is now very much like promoted. This way of wrong thinking is now happening. So you're being indicated for that. Earlier you recognize it, better you are able to handle it. More capable you are, easier to handle it. Because once it grown to a very intense higher level, it's very difficult to handle because it's already grown. So the mindfulness practice actually help us to recognize it at its early initial stage. So that recognition itself is a good solution. So once you recognize it, and then you have the choice. Okay, am I going to react? Am I going to act according to this, whatever the thought, whatever the desire, whatever my opinion? Or is there any kind of something I better keep it aside for the time being, and later maybe at another time I am going to ask or do whatever the necessary thing? So you have certain amount of a capacity to take a choice. So mindfulness practice is really helpful in that sense. And further, as you are growing in mindfulness, you are doing some sort of your own understanding of weaknesses, strengths, and etc. Your own weaknesses or strengths, and later you can read another person also. What we call as the emotional intelligence, where you are intelligent about your own emotions, you can handle it, you can manage it. At the same time, you are literate about someone else's emotions. You can read it and you can see how the situation is. Is it a time to talk? It's a time to react, or it's a better wait for a while. So likewise, you can coordinate with another person very well, because you can understand his own emotions as well. So the practice actually helps to handle all this. So therefore, Satipatthana practice has these different benefits. I mean, not immediately visible, but slowly you have become more aware of what's really going on internally, and similarly you being aware of what's really going on someone else's mind. Regulating desires. Now, you know that the age is a really burning age. Now 19, 20, 30, now this is the prime age of our life. More desires, many desires. So one thing is, with wisdom we can understand, okay, there's a lot of vulnerability in the mind right now. Okay, huge vulnerability is there in the mind. So I have to be careful. So that kind of a vigilance, that there's such a vulnerability is there in the mind. Sometimes it go to the peak, and you understand that. So accepting that, okay, there's a kind of a vulnerability in the mind. So you understand that wisely. And then take certain kind of a policies to your life. Okay, I'm not killing. I'm not going to steal. I'm not going to involve with any sexual misconduct. So certain kind of very moral qualities you are sort of bringing to your life. Okay, certain moral standard you are bringing to your life. So then you become confident your life from a different angle. So typically people become confident by their body strength, their beauty. And they are also true, but these are different qualities that you can become confident. Okay, even though I'm at my prime youth, I still maintain certain ethical, moral conduct. I have certain qualities. I appreciate them. I am trying my best to protect them, and all that gives you a certain amount of a spiritual strength as well to you. And when others are going in the wrong direction, now these qualities help you to stop that. Now, say for example, while other young adults are going in drinking and alcohol and all that, can you stay with them without drinking? Now, it happens only when you have that strength. They may even persuade you, right? They may even try to tempt you, but you have developed certain kind of a capacity not to drink. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to smoke. I'm not going to any kind of sexual misconduct. I have certain ethics I am maintaining. Something like that. So these are very, very interesting qualities that, when we are living according to certain ethical, moral conduct, so it is not that you completely discard your, say, friends. Friends may be going through that whatever their way, but you are not really discarding them, but still you maintain that. And they also start recognizing it. Later they can even respect that. So therefore it is not a kind of a weakness. Say, not smoking, not taking alcohol, whatever, any other drug, or not doing any adultery or any other such kind of sexual misconduct. It is not a weakness. It is some kind of a spiritual strength one is having. And if you are up to that, and if you can maintain that, so you are developing in a different capacity, and others start recognizing it. And this fellow is difficult to turn to this weakness. So they are also helpless in a way. They are simply victims of those desires. Now you are going in a way kind of against these desires. Desires are coming. I am not saying that you are free from desires. Desires are there, but those desires can't overwhelm you. Something like that. So therefore, these things are very interesting, and that's why Buddha trying to give certain moral conduct to the lay person, because lay person is fairly vulnerable. They are living with they have their own social life, they have their family life, they may have their sexual life, they may have a lot of other commitments, so many things are there, a lot of vulnerabilities there. Okay, try to maintain certain standard, have a ethical conduct. don't break it. As much as possible, try to maintain that. So, because morality is in a way that conduct, that restrainment, helping us to maintain. Because the mind is spilling with so much of desires because of the age, but you have certain moral standard. Try hard. Definitely possible to do. And just share one thing. Just after passing out from university, I was assigned to one company. The mother company was in Singapore. In 1999, I went to Singapore, and all others are at night, they take alcohol. They drink alcohol. So, very interesting bite also is there. Bite, very tasty. So, I also was there, but I am not drinking. They are drinking, they take alcohol, soda and all blah blah things are there. This bite also there, I don't know what's a better term for that. And I am eating that. Very delicious. Interestingly, one of them has taken a picture. And while keeping an alcohol, this cup closer to me, and taken even a picture, but even it sent to my mother, they don't believe. They know that this fellow never drink. I don't know, somehow it has that sort of a confidence was there. So my father also not drinking, and my brother also not drinking. That it has actually coming from my family also. So they were maintaining a very good sort of that role model, and not even a cigarette. So that's a good thing coming from family also. But interestingly, I was having got of good friends, and they drink, but I can stay with them without drinking. Very interesting. And many other things, when they start singing, I also sang. That's a different thing, but not drinking. Like that. Maintaining certain kind of some sort of principles in our life, following certain policies in our life, really make yourself stronger. And at the campus, when they start vomiting, then some people have to be there to take them, no. So we are ready. We are bystanders to do that. Caretakers. Okay, that's all.
No, Bhante, there's two more.
Okay.
Question number 6, sorry. Yesterday during Q&A, you mentioned about looking at a pain or ache mindfully. Can you explain this?
Not through your eyes. Just pay attention. So once you have mindfulness, you can simply pay attention to that, whatever the pain. Interesting thing is that you are not hating it anymore. Pain is a mere pain. It's another feeling, and you can simply watch it, and you are not going against it. You are not wishing, okay, let it go quickly, let it disappear quickly, and why it is happening to me. There is no such kind of a inner hate or self-hate or something like that. Rather, you can patiently observe that. That's all. And simply pay attention, and you can see the burning effect there. They are changing, and it's really painful, and you still have the patience to look at it. It's not a big deal. You can do that. Okay, Sharini. Right.
Question number 7. Appreciate if you could explain how Maitri Cheto Vimukti can be achieved.
Okay. Actually, for you to do that, first of all, you need to do metta to your own self. You have certain amount of metta to you, and then you start with someone that you really respect, same sex, same kind of a person that you really respect, and you honestly wish him or her goodness, and you honestly do that again and again, and then sometimes more than you can develop the loving kindness to that person. Then you can even further grow loving kindness towards you. You get the kind of a standard, the best standard from about the loving kindness, doing like that. So like that you grow fair amount of loving kindness in your mind. Now slowly develop loving kindness to the whole, say whoever human beings, all the beings in the front direction. Everybody in the front direction, you are developing loving kindness. Then to your right direction. Then to the behind direction, left direction. Again north, again west. Like that, slowly. You are developing in a circle. To the front, to the right, to the behind, to the left, to the front, to the left. So like that. So you are now slowly expanding this capacity. So later, interestingly, so this spreading of metta in this whole plane become complete. So you can slowly spread metta in this particular plane. And then start spreading metta to the upper direction, that also start filling. Then to the lower direction, that starts also filling. Ultimately, you become kind of a source of metta. So you can spread metta to all directions. So that is where in Pali what we call as the Sima Sambheda. So breaking of the limitations. So the metta, karuna, mudita, upekha. So these Brahma Viharas are called immeasurables. No limits. So once you grow it to the maximum, there are no limits. The boundaries of the mind is now totally broken. So you can spread metta to the whole universe. Now this is what we call as the metta ceto vimutti. So the mind was liberated through metta, loving kindness. No boundaries now. Complete loving kindness, including yourself. You haven't forgotten you. Including yourself, you are spreading metta to the whole universe. That is what we call as the metta ceto vimutti, where the mind is liberated through metta. It's a samatha meditation, samatha practice. Still, these are mentioned in suttas, and many benefits are there. Particularly, there are 11 benefits that Buddha mentioned about metta ceto vimutti.
Last question number 8. Sitting meditation. Yesterday I did a lot of Anapana meditation until late night and observed Purna Uposatha Sila without having meals at night. I wish I can do it every day, but want to have milk tea in the evening. Today early morning also I woke up at 5:30 and did meditation thinking about Kalalgoda residential yogis. Able to concentrate on the mind on the nostrils as if I am in another island. After going home, I was carried away by thoughts. Even with thoughts, I was able to keep the attention on nostrils. It's like one side thoughts and other side on nostrils. Later, 100% on the prime object. After doing meditation, I posted image regarding value of doing meditation to my friends. Now I realize that also happened because I was grabbed by thoughts. Please advise. Day to day. Yesterday after going home, I went to a Pirit ceremony. I was able to be mindful and realized I was attacked by many desires, but able to recognize those even after some time as I want to complete my Purna Uposatha Sila. Example, I was carried away by my dress. Dear sir, same person. Much merit to you, Bhante, for yesterday's explanation of how ignorance leads to formation by using a nice movie example. Ignorance reduces as only 32 parts are available. This is how the yogi practices. Is it okay to contemplate on the 32 parts?
Yeah, no harm. You can contemplate on 32 parts in many different ways. If you want to contemplate on 32 parts in a way to abandon lust, where you can give certain prominence to each part where the loathsomeness is sort of taken up. But if you want to break the compactness view, the Ganasanya of the body, then you can simply recognize, okay, this part, that part, all that, just to break the compactness. Now you don't need to go to the loathsomeness attribute, but rather you are recognizing this body is not a one unit. It consists of so many different parts. So different ways are there to contemplate 32 parts. So the second way, not to really emphasize the loathsomeness, because sometimes if you overemphasize loathsomeness, it can go to the depressive side, the negative side. So that is also not something good. So we need to be positive. We need to be fairly at least in the middle, not with lust, but with the sort of equanimity. And once you come to the middle, no need to encourage any loathsomeness, just encourage the wisdom. So, okay, these are mere 32 parts. I mean, they are mere 32 parts. I mean, it is not me, it is not a one unit. It's a combination of so many components. So likewise, if you do like that, then it's very difficult for you to attach to it. And you can even, actually it's in a way, it is the first stage of elements meditation, one would say. Because elements meditation take you to an even higher level that you can experience this. Because 32 parts are still conventional, conceptual. So eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, say intestines, feces, urine, and all these are still names, no? These are still labels that we have given labels to all these. Still they are conventional and conceptual. But later, once you plug into the elements state, those are not really conventional, those are experiential. You don't need a language, you don't need a concept to know it, you don't need a concept to experience it. You can really touch it, you can really experience it. That is much more deeper. So therefore, if you feel it's difficult for you to immediately get into elements meditation, go through 32 parts and certain understanding developing through that. It's really good. It's a very good practice. And it really activates the mind also. Now sometimes when you are practicing Anapanasati for a long time, say rising and falling for a long time, sometimes the mind feel lethargic and feel not really active and can even fall asleep. At that time, you go through the whole body and recognize in these 32 parts, it really gain you back to the sort of very active state of mind. So these are different techniques that you can employ based on your, depending on your situation. And later go into elements meditation through really recognizing, experiencing the element characteristics. It's more advanced. Okay, those are the questions that we have received. Hope there are no more questions. Okay, then we'll wind up the session and we'll have the Dhamma sermon as usual at 4 p.m. Theruvan Sannai.